This is Mighty Avengers 34 by Dan Slott, and we are very near the end of this series. There is only a two-parter after this, and we are done. But there is also a three-parter in another series that is essential. Very funny behind-the-scenes drama with that one. But this issue is the long-anticipated Tom Hiddleston issue. We have been building to this since the start of the run. The Avengers are finally getting to face Tom Hiddleston, who has been manipulating them all along. We have a great Avengers team too. That is true of the entire run. Great lineup. And the recap pages are written as a post on Giant Girl's blog. That is a fun idea. One day, Thor is contacted by his brother, Tom Hiddleston, who is in some trouble and begs for Thor's help. So here is Thor, God of Thunder. And he goes off to save his brother, which I have always felt he needed a bigger excuse to do. He might be his brother, but he is also his arch enemy. And even with the continuity at the time, I'd even say Thor dropping everything to go and save his evil brother. If anything, Thor should be suspecting a trap above all else. But Tom Hiddleston's captors are the Avengers. The Avengers have kidnapped Tom Hiddleston and are torturing him. Whoa, what is going on here? Are we starting in the middle of a story or something? Yes, we are. My favourite trope of all time. Starting in the middle of a story and then going back to show us how we got there. The Avengers are having dinner, and not a single one of them mentions that the last issue ended with one of their team, U.S.Agent, being forcibly fired by a corrupt government. They didn't care about the team's leader, Hank Gordon, didn't even care about it when it was happening. This is incredibly out of sight, out of mind. It makes zero sense that, regardless who the member is, a team would just nod their heads and let one of their own be stripped of his military rank and his costume. This scene is mostly here to have Hank Gordon accidentally insult his team by implying that they are the only ones who would join the team. That was never the case at all, by the way. The team were gathered by Tom Hiddleston. A plot point that we are ignoring in this issue about Tom Hiddleston. It is here where we start tackling the Flash and how he is only there because he believes that his sister has been working with this Avengers team. Hank Gordon continues to be a prick and reveals he has known since more or less the start that it was not Charlotte Witch, and he kept it from the Flash so that the Flash would join his team. So after discovering that he has been wasting his time and his sister isn't even there, the Flash does this little thing with his powers that is reminiscent of how his speed was depicted in the Silver Age issues of the Avengers, the Stanley Lee Cookie Quartet days. The Flash remains with the team to get answers from the person impersonating his sister, Tom Hiddleston. We have a surprisingly nice reference to the Acts of Vegans crossover up here. This is even the door that the bad guys used in West Coast Avengers 55. Most of the team fights trolls just to get them out of the way, while Hank Gordon builds a torture device. He snatches Tom Hiddleston from wherever he is and holds him prisoner. The bothersome thing with this run is that what once felt like a writer trying to redeem, build up, or add to Hank Gordon's character has become evidently Dan Slott writing himself, or rather his idea of himself, into a very questionable character. Dan Slott would love to torture people who have wronged him. Dan Slott thinks that he is the smartest man in the room and that everyone else is just underestimating him. And above all else, Dan Slott understands what it is like to have everyone judge you because of your attitude or treatment of women. It is very gross and uncomfortable nowadays to read is Hank Gordon, and more annoying because there is the basis of what should have been character redemption instead of creator validation. Let's also be frank. I am still trying to determine who this Frank person that I keep mentioning is. But let's be frank. The Avengers do not torture. Heck, Hank Gordon doesn't torture. At what point in his long history has Hank Gordon, even in his most mental low, engaged in casual torture? The Flash is the only character here who I think would be party to torture, and it is motivated by his own selfish need to find his sister. And Dan Slott knows this because when Thor shows up and we are caught up to the start, Thor scoffs at this team of Avengers for not being Avengers because they are torturing a captive man. Some very enormous leaps going into Dan Slott's asinine scripting, and some more shitting on Hank Gordon follows. And then we have a little fight. Thor beats up the Flash. I want to see Thor join this team. I didn't want to see him be at odds with his friends and former teammates because a writer has had all these characters act horrifically out of character and immoral. What this story has really been towards has been humiliating Hank Gordon and making him out to be everything Dan Slott thinks is misunderstood. Hank Gordon, by Dan Slott, is a jerk. He is a dick. He is inconsiderate. He has zero compassion for his supposed friends. He is selfish. He has issues with women. One indisputable fact is that Hank Gordon is smart. Dan Slott also thinks that he is smart. The difference is Hank Gordon, the character, is smart, and Dan Slott, the writer, is an idiot who thinks that he is smart. So here he has the character offer Tom Hiddleston a place on the team with the wonkiest fucking logic disguised as intelligence. And this has all been to have the rest of the team quit on Hank Gordon and let him down like people always do with Dan Slott. And then in the final 2 issues, this stupid moment will be called back to and magically validated because it is Dan Slott. We are leading into the 2 worst issues of Dan Slott's run. The closing story arc, which features Ultron. That was Mighty Avengers 34. And there is some okay bits in it. The art is acceptable. If I did have one criticism, it's that it's shit. There is no resolution or closure to the subplot with Tom Hiddleston. That plotline was one of the run's main hooks. Tom Hiddleston brought the team together under the guise of being Charlotte Witch, and there is no payoff to it. He does nothing with the team. He abandoned his disguise with almost no reference. And then the ending of the story is that the Avengers tortured him but didn't get any answers. In the end, like all the last batch of issues of this run, all this really works towards is making Hank Gordon an arsehole because Dan Slott is an arsehole, and he has basically been writing Hank Gordon as himself. And it only worked in the first story where Hank Gordon was clawing back respect and re-establishing himself as a superhero. Very disappointing to see a run I once liked, and a run I still maintain as a great opening story. Just really sink lower and lower each time I reread it. I'll have to give it 7 thumbs up.